want to say it started with the neighbor across the street hung himself. He was a bit older than I was. He was like my brother's age. And this was when I was 9, 10, I want to say. So he would have had to been like 14. And yeah, for whatever reason, woke up one morning to get ready for school, and we just hear this like horrific screaming. And like I've never heard screaming quite like that before. And it was coming from across the street, but like it like went everywhere in the neighborhood. And so my mother ran across the street to help, which okay, anyway, that's its own thing. And as it turns out, it was my friend, and her older brother was the one that had hung himself with his own shoelaces. And after that, there was just, I feel like that was the trigger for a lot of suicide and suicide attempts in that area. Yeah, suicide is difficult to deal with. It's a lot. I in particular have dealt with it way more than I think I should have. Because I think everyone in my close circle either tried or did commit suicide. So it was a tough time. Yeah. I think my brother had moved to, he joined the military. He didn't graduate, but he joined the military. He got his GED and then joined the military. And then he moved to Florida. And when he was in Florida, he had all this really messy stuff happen with a woman that he married. And so he ended up trying to kill himself. And that didn't work out for him. So he's still around. But that had happened. And then I think just before that, one of my family members took a bunch of pills. I say family members because I really don't want to be specific here, because I still talk with them and it's not my story. So they had swallowed a bunch of Tylenol to do that, but they ended up getting their stomach pumped. And then before that, I wasn't popular in school. I had like one friend. And it would occasionally switch out because like it was weird. It was like one of those things where like I had a friend, and then I thought I had a lot of friends, and then one day the person who I used to hang out with like turned to me and was like, you don't have to hang out with me anymore, you can go away. I was like, I didn't get it, and then I was like, oh, okay. It's funny because I still remember her first name. Anyway, but it was really like, it was one of those things where I was like, well, lost that entire friend group, which I did. And so then I remade friends with another person who was at that time my only friend. And we were good. And then she moved away for a bit, and then she moved back. And one day I was sitting in the kitchen, and that whole week I'd been thinking, I need to call my friend. I haven't seen her in like a week. You know, that's not like us. We usually see each other every other day. But she also got banned from coming to my house because of my brother for other reasons. Anyway, so it made it difficult for her to hang out. So I always had to either go to her place or we had to meet somewhere. So I hadn't talked to her for about a week. And then my older stepsister at the time came in and was like, what's your friend's name again? And I'm like, XYZ. And she was like, I think you need to sit down and look at this. So she hands me this newspaper, and it's an obituary of my friend. And no one knew how to get a hold of me because this was before the age of cell phones and stuff like that. So I just found out, and then I called her family, and they told me when like the wake and everything was, but she had just earlier that week shot herself. And I was super young. I want to say I was 12, 13, maybe 12. So it's hard. So then I had to go to the funeral, so I had asked people to come with me, and my mother said she had work, so she couldn't come with me. and my stepdad at the time was already gone. He had gone to work. He worked all the time. And my older stepsister left to a friend's house. My younger stepsister left to a friend's house. And so then I asked my brother to come with me, and he was like, no. So he drove me to the funeral and dropped me off. And so I sat in the back by myself for my friend's funeral, and it sucked. It sucked a lot. So then he picked me up later, and in some kind of weird effort to try and, I'm fanning myself if you can't tell what I'm doing, in some kind of like weird effort to make me feel better, he like took me bowling, which wasn't the best of ideas, but it was something. And then when I got home, I realized that my stepdad had gone golfing with his boss, so he wasn't there, and my mother was still in her pajamas, so she had been home the whole time and just didn't want to go. And I ended up getting grounded for being home late. Like, it was messed up. So it was really stupid. And I ended up dealing a lot with that by myself because I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't make a new friend until like school. And then, yeah, the first friend I met was like, I don't know, I desperately needed that friend, and they needed a friend as well because their parent was in the process of dying from cancer. And so it was just kind of the two of us, because I, lived in a dysfunctional house, and I spent a lot of time with other people. I lived with a lot of other people. There'd be like weeks and weeks at a time where I would just be living with friends because I couldn't go home for whatever reason. I think in that same 6 months, I want to say, my maternal grandmother had passed away, and it put my mother in this sort of comatose state where she didn't respond to anyone. Like, she just kind of like stared into the distance and then didn't say anything. So we had taken her to the hospital, and the doctors were like, oh, there's nothing physically wrong with her, she's fine. So she just was having like a mental break. So she wouldn't talk to anyone, she wouldn't eat, she wouldn't do anything. She just like sat on the couch and stared into the distance for days. And it finally broke when I was like, I was trying to talk to her. I was like, Mom, I need you to be here. Like, I need you to be here with us. And she didn't respond. And so then my older brother came in, and he was like, Mom, we need you here. And then she kind of snapped out of it, and sort of got back to being a pseudo parent, which never worked out for her being a parent, because she was very 16 in her head eternally. So by the time I'd gotten even close to that age, I realized that I was more responsible. So there was that. And yeah, later ended up with someone who was really close to us in the house with Sakura, actually, who also ended up trying to suicide with a bunch of pills. And that's about as far as I'll get into that, because it's, again, not my story, but that was a thing. So yeah, it was a lot. It's always been a long series of, and other people in my school had died as well, like had suicided, but I didn't personally know them. Like, they were acquaintances, or I knew of them, so I wasn't as affected by it, just because I just didn't know the people. But it was a good chunk of years that like just kids were just dropping off like flies, and it was really, really rough for everyone, really. But yeah, so PTSD. It's actually not what I have PTSD from, but it didn't help. It made things particularly lame. So there was that. But yeah, I grew up with a lot of stuff like that. A lot of random trauma that I should have had help for, and I wish I had had parents that were attentive. I wish I had an adult around who was like, hey, maybe we should talk about things. And like, the adults that I did have to talk with weren't related to me, and there was a bit of a disconnect because of that. And half the time it's because they wanted something from me, and that was never a good thing. So like, I didn't really have a way to work through a lot of that until I met my friend in high school. And then, yeah, we were dealing with her mom. And it was a lot of different kind of dealing with death in a different way. As yeah, she had her own issues as well, and so we both were trying to deal with our issues as kids. And that was its own thing. So I don't know. There's a lot of other random stories. Mostly just having a really bad parent. Like, my mother had eventually divorced, and we lived on our own, which is me and her. And again, not the brightest crayon in the box. She went to go. She decided that she wanted to go spend Christmas with my brother in Florida, and I must have been like 16-ish. And so she was like, "You'll be fine, right?" And I was like, I guess. I don't. Okay. And then she was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be gone that long." So she left for my entire winter vacation. She was gone for like 2 weeks. And in that time, I guess she had forgotten to pay the utilities because the electricity shut off on me. And so I lost electricity for a while. And so I ended up just being like, F this, I'm going to a friend's house. And so then she managed to get someone to help pay to get it turned back on or whatever. So then I got electricity back. So then I just was sitting at home on Christmas like, well, this is my life now. Cool. And then my friend who had the mom, she actually, her and her boyfriend at the time, kind of stormed my house and literally like kidnapped me out of my chair. Like storming because I was sitting at a desktop because we had one. Sitting at a desktop, just I don't remember. I was chatting with someone online because yeah, and so her and her boyfriend literally like stormed into the room and like grabbed me and then like physically carried me out of the house. And they're like, "You're not allowed to spend Christmas by yourself. That's just not okay." So then I ended up spending Christmas with her family, which was almost weirder because you're not really meant to be there because it's kind of like it's clearly like a family event, and so it felt really weird being there, especially because like I was the only person who didn't get presents or anything like that. So I was just kind of awkwardly sitting there like, yeah, it's cool to be around people, but I almost kind of wish I hadn't been because then I would feel less awkward about it. I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing to explain, but yeah, I think it almost hurt more because yeah, I was very very well aware of what I was missing and what things should be like versus what I had. So there was a lot of that too. Life is funny like that. So it's kind of one of the main reasons I moved out when I was 17. I was 17, excuse me. I graduated high school when I was 17 and I moved out. And I moved pretty far away because it didn't make a difference to me. Like, it was all the same. It was either I was there or I wasn't. And she was not a particularly healthy person. She had made a couple threats on my life, and it was like, maybe I don't be around this unhealthy person. Maybe for my own sanity and health, I should leave. And I did. And that caused its own issues. That was really difficult. I think I talked about this before in a different live stream, trying to live on your own when you're underage. Because you can't sign a lease and you can't do a lot of things, and legally you're not even supposed to be there on your own unless you're an emancipated minor. And then she refused to let me be an emancipated minor for a ton of reasons, and I can get into that later because there's all sorts of messed up things about that. But yeah, it was a lot. So that's like a small portion of it. Sounds terrible. That was a portion of it, and yeah. Like, modernly, I'm okay. I'm surrounded by people I love and people I care about and people who love and care about me. And that's, like, the most important thing. Because I've got my wife and I've got, like, my BFF, my Biffle, who's in the room. Hey, Alex. Yeah, and then, I got my fam. And they are extra important to me. Because when you don't really have anyone else in life, they become your family, your everything. So I have a very good support group of friends that are my family. And so I, as a human being, am a lot better. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting thing to try and post on YouTube. Serious talks with Raven. Whatever. yeah, that's that. I am so melty. It's so hot. I can't. Yeah, I was supposed to do my Utena video, so hence my eye stuff is like orangey and whatnot, like yellow and orange, like a sherbet ice cream. Because it's one of my favorite characters is the next episode, so hurry. I woke up from my melt nap. Yeah, it's hot, man. It's really hot. Getting all shiny, and not because I put on highlighter. This is how I take care of things. It's fine. I can't think of what else to say. I'll probably share other stories later, because there's just so many. I'm just gonna freaking melt. I think it's kind of boring though, because I'm like not doing anything, so I'm like, I don't know if I should continue a stream where I'm just like staring at the camera talking to people. Feels a little weird. I miss seeing people. Like, it's really, that's I think the hardest thing, and I got really lucky in that the people who I live with are, you know, my wife and my best friend and a really cool roommate. So I really lucked out in this whole pandemic situation because I can be in the same house as them for extended periods of time with not wanting to kill any of them. So there's that. That's good. These days are lonely. Yeah, it's kind of hard not being able to see everyone else though. Hi, Kim. There's Kim. Don't flood the chat, baby. I asked for this. I did ask for this. This is, you know what? That one's mine. I married her. She's mine. All mine. No, mine for keeps. I love bad movies. I really do. Like, the worse the movie, the better for me. They're so good. And a lot of wine. Yeah. You get. Oh, let me tell you a really sad story. It broke my heart. My roommate opened the fridge door the other day, and for whatever reason, the bottom shelf thing that holds everything on popped off. And I had an unopened full bottle of blueberry wine, and it broke. And I didn't even get to try it. It was all gone. Cried a lot over it. I'm still upset about it. It's not like it's expensive wine. I'm just upset about it because I'm like, my wine. I didn't even get to try it. It's all gone on the floor. It's floor wine now. Nobody likes floor wine. I'm so upset about the floor wine. You don't even know. You don't even know. Like, oh. And the other one I have that didn't break was already open, but I don't think it's good anymore. Like, I think it's because it's kind of a sparkling wine, like the Stella Rosa. I think it went bad. It's been in there open for so long, so it kind of definitely went flat and stuff. So like, my unopened bottle of wine broke open. The unopened bottle of wine that's probably not good anymore didn't break open, but it's still there, and I definitely just need to throw it out and get a new bottle of wine. But I don't like spending excess money too much. It's like floor tacos. It's just a tragedy. I want tacos now. Taco Bell recently got rid of potatoes. Did they really? That was one of like the only things I could eat there. I mean, besides the bean burritos, but like, don't eat the meat, it's unfair, right? Yeah, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat meat anyway. Also a lesbian, so like, there's double that. I'm sorry, I'll see myself out. I like tacos. Dear diary. Oh my god, I'm old. I wanted to read you guys this. Someone wrote the other day. It was really funny. Back in my day, we had to go to Suncoast Video and buy the mangas that were shrink wrapped so you couldn't see what was inside to get to the porn. They're like, wow, you're old. She's like, dude, I turned 18 in 2001. It was a different time. Everyone is so spoiled now. You wake up like, I want to read fanfic of so-and-so stepping on so-and-so's face, and it's like there already, laid out on a buffet for you. And there's probably fan art too. You don't have to go to a web ring where someone's badly redrawn comic scans exist. Just oh yeah, web rings. Oh, like, wow, that brings back memories. Sailor Moon web rings, the amount of Sailor Moon web rings I was on. Oh boy. Or like when you had to watch raw anime and you had to print out the script so you could read along with the anime to see what was going on. Those were the days. I read it in that Discord, and I just started dying. Like, little tears came out of my eyes. Like, it's so funny. And I think they're like a year older than I am or something, so it was particularly amusing. Yami no Matsuai web rings. Oh my god. The first gay media that I ever watched was what was it? It's that one where people are slaves based on hair color. I know Kusabe. Yeah, that was the first gay media that I had watched. After I know Kusabe, the first thing I saw was Gravitation. So that was my gay media. I actually really liked Gravitation. I still want to kind of cosplay it. I want to cosplay Ryuichi. Gravi cosplay, let's go. Yeah, I want to kind of cosplay Ryuichi or Shuichi. I would do either, because I love them both, but my god. Man, I forgot about Gravitation. Sensitive pornograph. Sensitive pornograph was just so bad. It was so well drawn. It was so bad. Boku, what is that? Boku no sexual harassment. Terrible gay media. Man, that is all we had. Man, the amount of corn jokes that existed for so many years at YaoiCon, and now like only like a handful of people who still go to conventions, like if you say corn, will even like giggle. Like, oh boy. I am going to stop this stream now. We have derailed into corn jokes, and that's when you know you gotta stop a stream. Bye everyone.